Hey friends, welcome back to another video. My name is Emma Lefebvre, and today I am painting an unusual flower that I have been requested to do a couple times. I just haven't gotten around to it. I've never seen one in real life, but people want to see it, so today we are going to be painting a detailed Protea. So let's jump right in and start. Okay, so today we are going to be painting a King Protea, and I have this reference photo that I got off Pinterest. I will link it below, and we're just going to jump in and start. So I'm painting in my Etchr Lab cold press watercolor sketchbook. I have my Winsor Newton professional watercolors. I have my Emma Lefebvre Craftimo brushes in a size, there we go, size 6, size 12, and a size 2, pencil, eraser, and I have my water jars and all that. So the first thing we're going to do is sketch it out, and I'm going to start off with some shapes. So you can kind of see that it's like this circular shape, especially that shape in the middle. So I'm going to do like an oval. This will be what's in the middle, okay? That little center part. And then these like little spiky things go around. I don't know the actual names of any parts of this flower. I've never seen this flower before, but I'm just gonna kind of wing it. So we're gonna go slightly out, come down, okay, and then I'm just gonna do like this, like it's almost like a cup shape, okay, going around like so. And we're making this all very, very light. I'm gonna have the stem coming down here. And then we can kind of pencil in where those leaves are going to be. Okay. So first, actually, let's just erase this inside part. And you can even make these a little bit lighter. This is just a guide. Okay. And I'm going to start making these like little spikes. Okay. So we have one down here. One this way, right in the middle. It's kind of like a pattern. They go in between each other. And they get longer as they reach the top. There's one that comes out to the side here. One that comes out to the side here. Like I said, they get larger, like that. You really don't even have to follow exactly the reference photo. You can kind of just wing it and get the idea. Like it doesn't have to be, like it's going to be detailed, but it's not going to be completely realistic exactly as the photo, okay? Just kind of give yourself a little bit of wiggle room to make it your own. We're just layering these. I wonder what they're called. Petals? These are such interesting flowers. So people have asked me to do them before, and I've never seen one. And they're kind of funny looking. They're not my traditional go-to, like, oh, these are so beautiful. I know a lot of people like them, but I was just like, meh, I don't know. So I'm just going to put some in between. And these petals are probably going to take like the longest time to get. And then so we already have this little oval part in the middle, which we'll leave because that's going to require some detail. I'm just going to make it a little bit lighter. And then we have to have some of those petal thingies in the back coming behind. So we can erase this part. And I'm sorry I'm not doing it too dark, but I don't want to have those pencil marks behind. Actually, we'll have one that's kind of a bit flatter here because it's kind of off to the side. Same back here. like so. Okay, so there it is. And then we're gonna do the leaves. So we have one kind of coming up behind. The leaves are really cool because they have like a little pink vein in the middle, which is neat. So this one comes up behind. And again, it doesn't have to be exactly like the picture. You just want to kind of get the gist of the shape. One there. There's one that's coming up in the front. So this one's going to be folded. So I'm going to go up, up, and then I'm going to cut across. And then do the back of it there, I think. And then have one coming up behind here. Like that. There's the bottom of one over here. So we can just have it coming up fully in the front here, kind of covering the stem. Actually, I don't really like the way that one looks, so we can change it. It can come out more to the side if we want it. I want to see more of the stem. And you don't have to do all the leaves. Like that. And then maybe we'll do one more over here. Again, just kind of winging it. Like that. Okay, so now we have our sketch. We're going to start painting. Okay, so the trick with detailed flowers opposed to loose flowers is that you really have to kind of take your time. It does take longer, and you have to work in layers. There's like drying time you have to wait for and all that fun stuff. So typically I don't do a lot of loose or detailed flowers just because I like to work fast. I'm not the most patient person. So I'm just going to roll my eraser over this so it's not too dark. My pencil marks aren't too dark. So I'm not completely erasing them. I know it's hard to see, but that's just what I do. And I'm going to start with a light wash of, because the ones down here are a bit more greenish, and then the ones up here are more pinky. So I think I'm going to do like a gradient of like greenish and then pink because I just kind of want to cover the whole thing. So I'm going to do a light wash over all of these. I'm going to wet it first. And this is just how I approach it. This is not the right way or the only way, or, you know what I mean? Sorry if you hear my vacuum in the background. It's done vacuuming. So I'm just wetting it up. And I'm going to start with a light wash of my pink. I'm just going to kind of put it all over here just to get a base. Except for the bottom, I'm going to turn it a little bit more green. And I'm making it light because this is going to be any kind of highlighted areas. Okay, so I'm just going to slowly bring the pink down a bit. Then I'm going to wash off my brush. I'm going to grab some sap green, maybe a little bit of yellow. And I'm going to, maybe a bit more yellow. Even a little bit of burnt umber. So it's like a browny green. Light wash. And just kind of have it here at the bottom. Slowly moving up. And it can kind of mix a little bit with the pink. It will turn a little bit brown, but just a little bit. Just a very, very light wash so you can go over it with pink. I'm gonna pull up some of that color. Okay. And then we're gonna let that completely dry. And while we're letting that dry, we can start working on some of the leaves. So the leaves look kind of more sap green, or maybe even hooker's green. They're kind of like a, yeah, they're more of like a hooker's green color. I'll try to move this over a bit. So while that dries, I'm going to do this. I am going to leave a little line down the middle for that pink vein in the leaf. Okay, just leaving a little white space there. And I'm just doing a light wash of this green while we're waiting for those to dry, like that. Okay, just moving it all around. You can make it even a little bit lighter just by taking up some of the color with your brush. And then I am going to go back in with a bit more pigment, darker pigment, and I'm just going to kind of go along the edge here. So we have a bit of a difference with, you know what, I might make it a little bit more brown. It's pretty green in the photo, but I don't like how like vibrant it is. It's a little too vibrant. So I just added a little bit of brown like that, leaving a little bit of those highlighted areas. Now if you notice, it's kind of pooling there, so I'm just gonna dry off my brush and just pick up a bit of that color like that. Okay, still a little bit too bright for me. Just gonna add a bit more brown to my green. Might go a little bit along the line here. Okay, and then let's do this back one over here. So I'm just gonna take some of that pigment off. I'm gonna make a line for where that pink is gonna be after. Fill in the rest with the light green. Okay, remember your light wash is always like the lightest value on your leaf or your petal or whatever. So that's why you want to start with a light wash. Okay, and if it starts to dry in some areas, you just want to go over the whole thing to make it all the same amount of wetness. Just disperse the paint in the water so it's even, and now you can go back in with more color. Go around the edges so it's a bit darker. Oops. Like that. A little bit more green. I might go around one side of the white part here, and I'm going to put a bit more of a shadow. Again, a bit more brown on this side, because this would be casting a shadow to this leaf that I'm doing now because it's underneath it. Like so. Just creating a bit more depth down there. All right. Okay, so I'm not going to do this leaf just yet because it's touching this one and I don't want them to bleed into each other. So I'm going to do the one that's back here first, because also this is touching this and I don't know if that's completely dry yet. So let's do that one. Okay, and then lastly, this is basically dry, but I don't want to, I think we should be okay with this petal or this leaf that's back here. So I'm just going to do that. Be careful that if it is a little wet, you don't want it to touch, but it looks pretty dry. Okay, so now let's just wait for everything to completely dry and we'll start on the little petals on the Protea. Okay, so now that it's completely dry, I'm going to start off with the center here, and then we'll work our way through the petals and stuff. So I'm just gonna grab another wash of this pink to just kind of outline where that center part is. We're just doing a light wash, going around those little petal thingies that we drew earlier. Okay, and I'm just gonna go over it, and then when we get to the top, it kind of gets a bit more darker. So I'm just gonna wet it up first and then do some wet on wet. So I'm gonna grab some magenta. I think it looks a bit more magenta-y. This is, I think, quinacridone magenta. And I'm just gonna start doing little like lines going up to the top here, like so. And I'll probably do some more after. And then I want to make it darker, so I'm going to actually add a little bit of black to my magenta to make it nice and dark at the top here. I'm just going to take some of that pigment off. Just make it a little bit more jagged there. And then I'll go over it after with a bit more detail. But so far, that's what I want it to be like. All right, and let's move down to the petals down here starting. So we have this like greenish color. I'm gonna start off by just wetting up a petal. I'm gonna call them petals. I don't know if they're petals, but I'm gonna call them petals. And we're gonna do a little bit of wet on wet. Starting with one small petal at a time. Make sure there's not pooling. You just want it a nice like light sheen. So I'm taking some of that water off, and I'm gonna grab a tiny bit of the pink because there's pink around the edges a bit. And I'm just gonna tap some pink around the edge. Like that, just a very small bit. And then a bit more of the green and brown. So burnt umber and some sap green at the base here. And if there's too much on your brush, just wash it off a bit. Like so. And just gently tapping it around like so. Okay, then I'm gonna do another one that's not touching that. So we're gonna wet it up. It's pooling a little bit, so I'm just gonna take off some of that. I'm gonna grab some of the pink, tap it around the edges a bit, because there's a slight bit of pink in these bottom ones. Grab our green and brown mix. Like so. Tap. Like that. Okay. Then we're going to touch another one that does not, we're going to do another one that's not touching either of those two. So I can't do this one, can't do that one, can't do that one, can't do that one. So we'll skip right to one of these more pinky ones. So again, I'm going to wet it up. Make sure it's not too wet where it's pooling anywhere. Now this one's a bit more pinky. So we can actually let's take a little bit of the green and have it coming from the base, just up the center just a little bit. Then I'm gonna grab some pink and go around the edge like this. And you can grab more if it's brighter. And let it bleed. Like so. I'm going to take some of that off dry my brush, and it looks a little harsh, so I'm just gonna make it a little bit softer by just blending it with a clean dry brush. I'm gonna grab a little bit more green and brown and just bring it down to the base here. Okay. I feel like there could be a bit more pink. Like so. Okay, let's do another one. Same thing. Grab our little bits of greenish brown. Bring it in the middle. Need more sap green. Like that. That's a bit too much, but that's okay. I can just wash off my brush, dry it, take up some of that color. And this is already starting to dry, so I'm just going to wet it all up again. Get more pink. Like so, and just kind of mix it in with the brown just a bit. I'm gonna grab even more pink. Because these are actually pretty bright. Like that. Let it do its thing. Another one, let's do one that's further up that's just like more pink. Making sure that's dry. And this is kind of basically it. You're just gonna keep going around and doing the same kind of thing to each of these petal things. Petal things. You guys like the way I talk? Petal things. Could learn the names. I could like the parts of it. Could. And there might be a little bit, I see a little bit of a highlight, which I should have blocked out actually for the top of this petal, but I might just add some white ink after. Might just be easier. I feel like this petal needs to be a bit brighter at the top, so I'm just gonna, this is another way to blend it out without doing wet on wet. Put the color down, wash and dry off your brush, and then just blend out that base. Wash, dry, blend. Like that. Okay. And then you just kind of keep going around. So I'm going to keep doing that, but actually let's do these leaves first. I'm going to show you how to do this folded leaf. And then you guys can watch me do the other part. So this folded leaf, the underneath is going to be darker than the top, and clearly the vein or vein of the leaf is going to be going a different way. So let me grab my color and I'll show you. Okay, so under here, I'm just going to outline it kind of a bit better. Here is the underneath of the leaf. So the vein is coming right up the middle. Okay, so I'm going to leave a little bit of pink or a little bit of white space for that pink there. Okay, and we're going to make that, because it's underneath, a darker green. So I'm going to grab a bit of Hooker's green and then even maybe some of my Perlean green, or you can add a little bit of like purple to it. And I'm just going to make it darker. Let's get a little bit of brown in there too, because it's really under the shadow here. And then you have to wait for that to dry, and then you'll do the part that comes over, because you want there to be kind of a separation between them. You don't want it to look like it's molded together. So let's just do, while we're waiting, this leaf that's over here. We'll leave that space for the vein. Just make it a little bit darker around the edges. Like so. Okay, let's make sure that this is dry before we do that part. Okay, and like I said, because this part is touching the light a bit more, it's going to be lighter. And the vein for this, so you have to imagine it comes up and then it folds over, so it's going to be coming from around here, the pink part. So I'm just going to do it up, coming up the middle here. And fill it in. And then again, we're just doing it lighter, so I'm just going to try and make it a bit of a lighter wash. Make it a little bit darker down here. Go up to the top, around. Like so. Okay, so now I am, actually I'll show you how to do the stem, and then I'm kind of just gonna fly through all of these petals because that's gonna take a while and also it could get a little bit boring. So for the stem, it's kind of like that pinky color mixed with a bit of green, which makes a brown. So I'm just gonna do a brown stem like this. Just mixed my permanent rose with my green that I had there. Then I'm gonna add some more pink and a bit more green touches in there. So light wash of brown. Okay, then I'm gonna grab my pink. Like so. Make it a little bit darker, maybe some of that magenta. Okay. Then grab some of that green. There's like little kind of spikes a bit, so you can do like little green triangles. Like so. And then lastly, before I fly through the petals, we're just going to add some of that pink color to the veins. Very carefully. You can use a smaller brush. The points on all my brushes are pretty decent. Especially my Craftimo Emma Lefebvre brushes. So I'm just going to gently add those pink veins. Like that. Okay, so now you're just going to watch kind of like in fast motion me doing the rest of the petals, then we will do a bit more detail maybe on the leaves, and then the center over here. Actually, I lied. I'm going to do the center part here, and then I will fly through the petals at the end. Okay, so I'm just going to grab that color of magenta again, maybe a bit more black to darken it up. And just kind of, now I'm doing wet on dry, so it's going to be sharper lines. I'm just going to do these lines coming down. like so. Like that. Maybe grab a bit more of the bright pink. Just have some peaks of the bright pink in there too. Like that. Okay. Now I will do the petals. Okay, so now I'm just doing a little couple of lines down here just to make it a bit darker. Really, really lightly. Okay, and then I think we're just about done. But if you would like to add like any more details to the leaves, I might just do like really light, tiny veins here with a really light wash of green. Just going out. Like that. You can definitely darken up the stem here if you wanted to. Tiny little green lines coming from the center of some of these with a really light wash. Like that. Just very, very lightly. The key is just making a really light wash like that. And then if you wanted to add any more, I'm just gonna add like some dots up here. And then maybe flick it down just a bit. So it's really concentrated at the top. Like that. And then lastly, there were some lighter bits to some of these tips, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of white. Might mix it a bit with pink. Just at the tips of some of these. You don't have to though. If you wanted to, you could use a white gel pen, white gouache, whatever. I use Dr. P.H. Martin's bleed proof white ink. But really, that's about it. That is our detailed Protea flower. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you learned something and I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and follow me on Instagram for even more. Have a great day, guys. Bye.